Hello everyone, this is Grandmaster Miguel Santos, and today I'll show you one of the most common mistakes that everyone does all the time. And when I say everyone, I even mean some of the best chess players in the world, such as FIROUZJA, who basically was lost in this game just after 10 moves. The game started with a Grunfeld with c4, g6, knight c3, and d5. You know, black plays d5 just 1 second before white gets to control all the center. And now FIROUZJA continues normally with knight f3. All of this is still theory. Bishop g7, queen b3, black took on c4, queen take on c4, and short castle. So now you've seen like white already wastes a couple of tempos with the queen, but this is fine, this is all theoretical, and the whole point is basically that now we will manage to control the whole center with e4. Of course, it's not all good for white since, okay, we already have our queen on the center, we still have the king on the center, we didn't develop the bishop, we're not castle. So with white here, we have to be slightly careful because it's possible that we might get some counterplay from black. And that's basically black idea with the move a6. They want to expand, they want to play some b5, some c5, and try to get some tempos on our queen, which is basically one of the biggest problems of developing the queen early, that your opponent can attack it, win tempos, and then everything goes worse and worse, right? Here FIROUZJA continues with the theory and he goes the move e5. After e5 there is different options here for black. b5 is the main move, but in this game Wesley decided to play knight fd7, which is some kind of secondary line, and here it comes the mistake. Knight fd7 is not the main line, and probably FIROUZJA thought it was some kind of transposition, or maybe it's still some of his analysis, but the point is, do not go to attack your opponent kings when you have no development, no pieces to attack, basically no real coordination between your pieces, because what happened now in this game will show you what will probably happen to you if you do that. So after this point, you will realize how Wesley basically attacks something on every single move. He managed to win so many tempos, and after like 5 moves, it seems like black has played 1,000 times and white is on the same position as before. So knight b6, first move, first attack to the queen, now attacking the queen, also attacking the pawn on d4, so you don't have so many squares. FIROUZJA decided to go to c5. Another tempo, I play h6, I attack your knight, still you have to move it. Knight g4, knight d7, again attacking your queen, you have to lose. Another tempo, queen e3, f5, again attacking a piece, you have to move it. Knight d2, knight b8, again a good move, now attacking the pawn on d4 with my queen. This is basically what will happen if you constantly try to give mate to your opponent when your king is basically in the middle of the board. You have no coordination, you have no pieces. This happens a lot. This happens a lot to everyone, especially when we are starting. We suddenly have our queen, we have the opponent king somewhere that we believe we can attack. Usually you have to develop, you have to, you need some control over the position to be able to make such moves, or basically this can happen to you. Knight b8, now d4 is under attack, you have to defend it. Knight f3, and now we realize that white already played knight f3, knight g5, knight e4, knight d2, and now back to f3. But this doesn't end here. Also, we have to learn the way that Wesley reacts and responds to this, because he's attacking something on every single move. Knight c6, new threat, I attack d4. We are not giving time to white to basically react and develop some pieces. If all the time we're attacking, creating some threats, it's very hard for white to basically try to consolidate their position and trying to keep the development. So now he has to defend d4, FIROUZJA goes knight e2, so already knight c3, knight e2, and now we go with g5, another threat. Now idea, want to play g4, we want to take on d4. So what can FIROUZJA do? He needs to defend the pawn on d4, so he gives a check on b3, and now Wesley could just play probably a move like king h8, but actually his position is so good that he doesn't really mind to change queens, because white take on d5, we take with the knight, we have a really wonderful knight on d5, bishop e6 coming, rook d8, even some knight b4, and as you can see, basically white position is probably overpushed. These pawns on d4 and e5 are weaker than stronger actually, and it's very hard to complete the development because you have to move the knight, otherwise the bishop cannot go out. If you move the knight, then this guy will not defend d4, so everything is falling apart. So here FIROUZJA decided to play queen d1. So you can see how after 70 moves, it seems like only black move their pieces. Like, you have a couple of pawns and 2 knights here, which you have moved 1,000 different times. Here, Wesley keeps attacking, keeps threatening things. More pressure on d4. Again, g4 followed by knight d4 is a new threat. And here, okay, FIROUZJA just collapse a bit and try to create some kind of counterplay, which is not really working. After knight c3, we move our queen to f7. Still threatening some stuff like 95 because now the queen is pinned on d1. Also g4 followed by knight d4 is also a threat. 92 back from FIROUZJA, and now bishop e6. So this position is basically showing us that black totally complete the development, everything is fine, and white wastes 1,000 tempos with their pieces. Why? Because they went for some attack that was not worth it without development, and then these kind of things happen. Your opponent starts threatening, you have to defend, and the key is to be able to threat something at the same time that you are improving your position, which is basically what Wesley was doing in this game. Here, FIROUZJA decided to finally sacrifice on g5, trying to create some kind of counterplay. We have to take it, knight takes, and simply queen g6. You take on e6, okay, take with a queen, and nothing really happens. So after queen g6, FIROUZJA tried to play h4 in order to play knight f4 next, which is actually a really decent try, but the problem is that I have all the development, and when this happens, it's very hard that the tactics will be good for you. Bishop e5 came, and now white cannot take back. f4 is control now, so now knight f4. Also, we are losing another pawn with white, and we cannot take the bishop because the queen is pinned. So basically, here, FIROUZJA had to resign. What do we have to learn from this game? Do not start attacks unless you completed your development, unless you have some control over the position, because this thing can happen. Your opponent start attacking, improving their position with some threats, and you only have time to defend, and this is probably not gonna make your position better, but probably just gonna make you waste more and more tempos. Probably what happened to FIROUZJA, he of course knows this more than anyone, right? He's a extremely strong player. I believe he thought he was transposing to some other line he had analyzed, but somehow knight d7 wasn't the same as b5, and when you try to go to some crazy position like that and you forget your analysis, something like that can also happen. So I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you subscribe, and see you in the next one.